So my idea for Grayscale is doing things that you don't feel like you're very good at dumb. Let's find out. This idea came to me when I was staying in a van driving the coast of California with three of my good friends over spring break, and I was looking for something to do on those long car rides, and I ended up sketching. And I haven't always felt like I've been very good at sketching, but I thought since I had so much time to kill, I'd give it a try. And that kind of spawned this idea of doing things that you don't feel like you're very good at. Now, my initial gut reaction to that is one of criticism, one of sometimes I feel dumb when I do things that I don't feel like I'm very good at. So I decided to investigate this and ask my friends what they thought and get some outside perspective on it. Take you on the exact journey I went through in doing this assignment and where I started and where it ended up. So I'm going to start by telling you the negative, the neutral, and the positive of doing things you're not very good at, and then I'm going to talk about deeper questions that I asked and some ways into this problem that I might be able to expand it. So a few of the negatives that I came up with for doing things that you don't feel like you're good at are judgment from peers. It can expose you to all sorts of comparison with others. You look at the things that you have done and say, that's not good like other people do it. Decreased confidence from repeated failure. So if you're doing something and kind of sucking at it over and over again, you don't feel very good about yourself. And it might be a waste of time because you could be doing better things and not things that you feel like you're not good at. And you might get worse. What if you just do something you're not good at and you just keep getting worse and worse? And again, you don't feel very good about yourself. I didn't have much for neutral because I feel like this is a polarizing topic, but some neutral things could be like, it doesn't change anything if you do something you're bad at and it's just meh and you're fine with that, then I don't know, it's pretty neutral. The next one is you can spend your time doing things you're good at or bad at, and at the end of the day, you're just doing something and that's better than doing nothing, so that's kind of neutral. And I'll move on to some positive stuff. For the positives for doing things that you're not good at, I came up with things like expanded sense of self-worth from accomplishment and trying something over time and trying to improve at it. You get a sense of achievement. So I found that with the sketching, I felt like I found my style a little bit more, and the more I did it, the more comfortable I was with messing up and making mistakes. Also, heading face first into something you don't feel good at doing and doing it anyways is really good for your mental health, kind of ignoring the voices that say, oh, I suck at this in your head, and just doing it anyways. Improving things is good for you, and it might give you insight into other things. Like if you're not good at doing hands-on things and you try one hands-on thing that you're not good at and you get better at it, it might give you insight to other hands-on things and your skills might overlap into new territory, and you might get this broader sense of improvement just from doing one thing that you're not very good at. I also, things like being good for creativity, like the stuff in Zigzag, I thought about how kids don't really care whether they're good at something, they just do it because they like it. I think that's a big part of doing things that you're bad at. Just doing something because you like it, not because you're going to get something out of it. And I'll talk about that more in the value section. Lastly, self-understanding. With the exercise that I did, sketching a self-portrait every day, I felt like I was able to express myself a little bit better and in a weird way sort of see how I view myself through a pen. So for step 3, to fully articulate the problem, I need to address some of the systems and philosophical questions that come up when investigating my subject. So first, value systems. I think intrinsically in this question, there's a question of value. Why are we doing something just to be good at it? Should we be satisfied with where we're at? Do we need to get better at something, or is it okay to just be where we are? I think there's a lot of this in our current times right now with social media and a culture of perfection. We're constantly force-fed images of people being perfect or doing perfect things, which makes us feel worse about where we're at when we compare our own works to others' works. And I think that's something to be addressed in this question. There's also educational concerns. In educational systems, grades and performance are rewarded instead of improvement or practice. There's a way that educational systems de-incentivize risk-taking. So we don't do things we're bad at because it's a risk and we could be penalized for taking risks, Also in economic systems, capitalism rewards specialization and efficiency. So we might think it's not worth it to do something we're bad at. Just stick with something you're good at because that's what we're financially rewarded for. And lastly, human psychology. We are creatures that naturally fear failure and judgment because it might mean ostracization from the members of our pack, from our peers. So that's another concern that is drawn into this question, just the fundamentals of the human brain. So for step 4, I tried to find some ways into this problem. So some things that I came up with to combat these value systems and to expand on my idea are firstly, celebrating being bad at things openly, doing things just because you're bad, and this makes you more comfortable with messing up. Kind of like I talked about as I did my sketches more and more, when I messed up, I didn't feel like I'd ruined the whole picture. It was just a little imperfection that I had to adapt into my plan and into my sketch that made it a more interesting and creative process. So there's a lot to be gained from mistakes. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Secondly, improving and practice-based learning as opposed to final outcome bias. I touched on this with educational systems, how they often favor outcomes and performance rather than improvement or practice. Third, challenging yourself to do things you feel you're not good at for the sake of growth. These can be little things. It can be talking to strangers. It can be practicing your handwriting. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think it's just important that we get comfortable with not being good at things and doing things for the sake of being bad. Fourth, sketchbooks, drafts, and rehearsals. This is about highlighting process rather than the final outcome, because there's most of the time we only see final outcomes. If you think about the process of a movie being made, unless you're a film major, you don't really know what the background of that looks like, and there's so much that goes into it. It could be a really shitty movie, but the process could be really important. This makes me think of Richard Serra and the list of words that we have to play with in our class. His art is process art. He takes steel and he says, okay, to curve, what would it look like to curve steel? And it's not about the outcome, it's about what he's doing to the object rather than making something. And fifth, we create casual, low-pressure spaces for trying new things. So creating a club or an organization, or just getting together with a group of friends and trying to get better at things, or just doing things because it's fun and being okay with being bad at them. So these are the ways I tried to intervene in my question. For my color choice on one of my sketches, I colored in a tattoo that I have on my chest because the tattoo is a way that I express myself. And I thought that the most important part of me doing this exercise of sketching was self-expression. And I found that even though I didn't feel very good about what I was doing, I found that it was truly me. The marks I was making on the paper represented something about me. And I found that very meaningful. So I decided to color in my tattoo, and that'd be my moment of color to draw attention to the value in doing things, even though you don't think you're very good at them. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoy the artifact I have for Grayscale.